What's up? Thanks for jumping on tonight. I got a lot of questions, a lot of things. I'm just gonna be really honest with you. There's just a lot of things on my heart, maybe on my chest, maybe on my brain. I don't know. And so I'm gonna get into some stuff. Some of it's gonna be, some of it's gonna be hard. Some of it's gonna be offensive, probably. But I just want to take you through our process. And so I'm gonna start with some wins, some things that God has been doing. I just got off of Instagram Live with World Compassion, and so and they were talking about they just got asked for 40,000 more Bibles to smuggle in the Quran, and so a lot of you know I was in Turkey at a pastors conference. Iranian pastors came to Turkey and some got together. So yeah, just being able to kind of see those things, and one of the things I love about our church is you guys have just been so incredibly generous that all of our missions partners. And I just like all the missionaries all around the planet. They're nervous because a lot of the churches are going through a financial crisis, and so we've committed to them. Unless it's just absolutely the church collapses, we're not going to back off our missions giving and our missions partners, which is another win because you guys have been generous. The church finances are strong. God's blessed us. Our salvation numbers are strong. We were averaging, I think, 48 salvations per Sunday prior to this. The first Sunday that we did church online, we had 58 salvations, and so it's been cool, and then that's happened several times, and so it's cool to see God continue to move. I miss Sundays for sure. I miss seeing people, but. We're gonna do what we have to do, and so there was a lot of questions, and then some of you guys typed questions in on the response or on the just the actual Facebook post, and so I'm gonna lock in to some of those as well and answer some of those. And listen, if you ever just wanted like brutal, honest Adam, man, tonight's your night. Ask a question. Frankly, I'm emotionally and mentally just exhausted, and physically I feel great, but just emotionally, mentally, I'm kind of strained, and so you got the very very raw Adam tonight. Okay, so here's okay. Some stuff. I sent some notes into the computer, and it didn't. I'm not seeing them now, but now I see them good. So a lot of people said kind of been on both ends of the spectrum, and I'm going to talk at the very end about how we're trying to reopen. Okay, so a lot of people said if everybody doesn't wear a mask, I'm not coming. And then I've had people say if we're required to wear a mask, I'm not coming. And so I'm just gonna tell you where I'm at on this. And I know that's not a question. It's something I want to address. So where I am personally, and where I am as a leader and a pastor. What do you mean you can't hear me? So do I need to stop talking or wait? Okay. Turn your computers up. I'll talk a little bit louder. And hopefully we're fixing it. Okay, so question was, well, just if you didn't hear, because I know I'm mumbled too, I'm gonna be brutally honest tonight. Brutally. Ask me anything, I'll tell you what I think. So, Lando, come here real fast. You wanna say hi? Just look right in the little green thing. Say hi.
Hi.
Why are you still up?
I came to throw my trash.
Do you think there's a difference between like fun-loving dad and like brutally honest, intense dad? Or not really? Am I all the same all the time?
Yes, there's a difference.
Different? Is it a big difference or a little difference?
Big.
All right, I'll let you go to bed. Okay. So kind of the question is, some people say it's not a question, but a statement that I want to address. I'm not coming unless everybody has a mask on. I'm not coming if you require people to wear a mask. And so, Christy, So here's what I want to encourage you in. When I go to Target, I don't wear a mask. You can hate me for this if you want to. You can hate me for all this stuff. That's fine. When I go to Target, I don't wear a mask. When I go to Academy, I don't wear a mask. In fact, I haven't put a mask on yet. However, so that's kind of the personal side. But as a pastor, when we reopen and have people in our building, I'm not going to wear a mask while I preach. But other than that, I will wear a mask. Not because of what I personally believe, but because me wearing a mask makes someone else feel more comfortable. And if they feel more comfortable and they're able to engage in worship and engage in the sermon without having to worry about somebody 3 rows back coughing, then I'm fine. Like, I don't come to church because it's all about me. I come to church because I want to help others grow in the Lord. And those of you that are mature in your faith, I just would think that you would be one to say, man, mask, no mask, whatever the case may be. I just want to make sure people feel comfortable. Think about everything that we do in church, from the parking lot to the lobby to the auditorium. We want to make people comfortable in order to worship the Lord. Now, I'm not saying soft. I'm not saying I'm going to preach not preach the gospel. That's not what I mean, and you know that's not what I mean. But what I'm saying is we want to create an atmosphere that everybody feels like I can come in and I can worship Jesus. We want to eliminate as many distractions as we possibly can. So that's why we're going to encourage you to wear a mask. And some of you can say, I ain't wearing a mask. Well, that's fine. But that's why we're encouraging you to wear a mask. But again, I would just ask you to really consider your motives on why you come to church, and why you may or may not want to wear a mask. And here's where I am personally. Okay. Some people think this is a hoax, right? And it's not even real. Okay, if you're that person, I want you to know this: I love you. Some people think this is the worst thing that's happened in the history of humanity. If you're that person, I love you. And everybody in between, I love you. Here, let me tell you what I care about: people coming to know Jesus and people growing in Him. That's it. And so I'm trying the best I can to figure out, how do we help the most people come to know Jesus? So I don't care what Fox News says. I don't care what CNN says. I don't care what MSNBC says. All I'm trying to figure out, how do we help people know Jesus and grow in Jesus? So I'm trying to look at all the circumstances. I'm talking to all of my pastor friends, and I'll talk about that I'll just talk about it now. Almost every day, I'm talking to Dan Hunter. I'm talking to Dustin Woodward. I'm talking to Herbert Cooper. I'm talking to Pastor Marty Grubbs. And these guys, the smallest church of this is 3,500. Talking to John Chastain. So all these guys that have churches, and it's not about size, but it is about size when it comes to large gatherings. And so I'm talking like Pastor Marty Grubbs. They're opening June 7th. Gateway Church in Texas. They're open June 7th. And it's not because they have a belief one way or another. It's because they're trying to facilitate very large crowds. And so you guys that have been in our auditorium and in our lobby, especially in between services, it's really, really packed. And so we're trying to figure out how to do that the best way possible. So I'm not, if you sent this email and like, I'm not mad. I want you to know I'm not mad at you. But I'm just trying. I feel like if somebody sent an email that says something, there's probably a bunch of other people that think it. And so I got an email that said, why would you do a survey? Moses didn't need to send the survey to lead people. Just lead the people. Okay, so you're right. Moses, he didn't send surveys. Let me look at something real fast. Also, Moses didn't have technology or the internet or the ability. SurveyMonkey wasn't around back then. But I'm going to read some scripture. Proverbs chapter 12, verse 15. The way of a fool is right in his own eye, but a wise man listens to advice. Proverbs 11:14. Where there is no guidance, the people falls. But in an abundance of counselors, there is safety. Proverbs chapter 15, verse 22. Without counsel, plans fail, but with many advisors, they succeed. So if you're out there and you think that the surveys, they're stupid, I don't want to do it, then you would not maybe consider yourself as a wise counsel, then you don't have to fill it out. That's fine. We're not forcing anybody to fill anything out. But I trust our church people. And I think that you think that this survey is about should we start church or should we not start church. The survey is so much more than that. It's how many services do we need? How do we prepare our kids ministry? And so there's about 11,000 people that attend our church once every 6 weeks. Okay, there's about 8,000, 9,000 people that attend our churches once every 4 weeks, right? The average person, we have, right before this happened, we're having about 5,600, I believe, on a Sunday. I could be a little bit wrong, but I think that's the number. About 5,600 on a Sunday, right? We have 3 campuses and 3 different communities that all their rules are also a little bit different. And uh, so we're trying to figure it out. How do we do that? So I'm listening to wise counsel, and you guys are a part of that. And like I said, I'm talking to pastors. I'm trying to figure it out. But at the same time, the survey is not about reopening as much as it is what to expect when we open. And I think you need to understand this. God called us, like we feel like as a church, God has called us to do 2 things really well. And we say we do 5 things well, but there's 2 main things in our mission statement. We exist so people far from Jesus can come to know Him, and those that know Him can continue to grow in Him. If you were to watch our worship experiences, you're going to know this. People are still coming to know Jesus. Our small group numbers are at all-time high. People are still growing in Jesus. So the why did not change. The why will never change. We're going to see people come to know Jesus. We're going to see people grow in Jesus. And I'm not saying the building is irrelevant. The building is not irrelevant. It is important that we gather together. It's important that we connect through fellowship and worship experience times. But it's not important to rush it. It's simply not, because the building is not the why. The people are the why. So if we didn't have internet, maybe it'd be different. And quick side note, this is sarcastic, but it's true. So when the disciples went to pick the newest disciple, you know how they did it? They rolled dice. So that may not be that's a unique way to lead as well. But I need you to know this. I never dreamed I would lead a church of however many thousand through a pandemic. To be frank, the only thing I knew about a pandemic was from a board game that I played, which is pretty good actually. I can tell you this: I'm praying more than I've ever prayed in my life. I'm seeking godly counsel from some of the greatest, most godly, most incredible pastors on the planet. And I'm in Zoom calls. I'm on the phone. I'm on text with so many. I was on a Zoom call yesterday with about 30 pastors from across the country. Some of our other staff were on some other calls with other pastors. And again, it's all over the country. And so I'm doing my best to figure it out. I promise you, our staff is working their butt off. And I'm going to be real with you. I could not be more proud of our staff in the work that the Lord has done through them in the last 6 or 8 weeks. And so to a lot of people who have a lot of comments on email, text, and Facebook, I just need you to know this: I'm doing the best I can to lead in a situation that, frankly, I was not ready for. And maybe some of you were. Maybe some of you took these classes in college. Maybe some of you led large churches through pandemics in the past. And if that's true, just DM me real quick, and I'll meet you tomorrow morning for breakfast, and you can tell me how you led through it. In the meantime, I just ask you to have a little bit of grace, as we're doing the best we can to figure out. And I figured it out. And I said that to say this: 99% of the church has just been amazing. You guys you've been amazing, and it's win-win. I mean, there's so many people that if we open today, we love Jesus, and we're behind what God's doing in the church. Not me, but what God's doing in the church. And then other people, if you want to wait till August, we're behind what God's doing in the church. So most people have been amazing. But again, sometimes I've been pretty happy and excited on this deal. every other night on Facebook Live for 6 weeks, and so I just needed to get some of this out. So, um, okay, so let's talk about racism a little bit. Hit another good. So I posted something today. A lot of our staff posted some stuff today. Um, by now, if you're on Facebook, you've seen this horrific shooting that, like, I didn't realize this until today, that took place 10 weeks ago. And it's just, and I did see right before I got on that those two men so far, I guess, have been charged with murder. And so if you watch, like, so I watched the video, I guess a couple days ago, and literally I watched it and I was sitting and I just started crying, and it's disgusting, it's horrific. Um, Man, it broke my heart. And and then people start criticizing what we're posting on Facebook about praying for his family, praying for justice. And it's not that they're criticizing that as much as they're criticizing, why do you guys always got to talk about this? Why don't you talk about other injustice? And I'm gonna be frank with you. I think at some level, some of those are fair. Um, should I talk about other injustices more? I think that I should. Okay, so I'll give you. I should talk about other injustices a little bit more. I would ask this. Um, so, well, I'm just gonna ramble a lot. So, I grew up in a very white. At that time, Mustang was pretty white. Mustang home was pretty white. And then when I was 21, I got a job working for Herbert Cooper, who's black. And most of our youth ministry, most of our students were black. I didn't know anything about their culture, and so I began meeting with a guy named Shelby Johnson, who's still a dear friend, incredible guy. He's on staff at People's Church, and and so, and I'm not going to go into all of my stories, but um, and really my three closest friends in the world are black. Every morning for the last 6 weeks, I run in a neighborhood with a 26, 27-year-old black man. And so when I saw this, and like, and our staff, there's, obviously our staff is pretty diverse, and you see, and you hear story after story after story of racism, and and I think that's just it's gripped my heart, maybe in a unique way, but man, I think like if your response isn't just to let's just pray, man, that's just like it sucks, like it's really tricky. Um, man, I think if your response isn't anger, uh, it's tricky. Um, I uh, I, I wonder this. I, I wonder if I was to post about, if I was just really passionate about foster care, and I posted once a month about foster care, if anybody would ever say a word. I wonder if I was like super passionate. And listen, like the church has started a program to help with foster care and help with adoption. The church supports foster care and adoption in tremendous ways, um, and helps tremendously. I'm pro life, and I think abortion is one of the great injustices in America. I think abortion is a tremendous injustice. But if I posted about abortion once a week, nobody would say a word. But if I post about racism once every 2 months, then I start getting these comments, and it's just interesting to me. And I guess I would ask you to ask yourself, would it bother me if his soapbox was something different than that? And I think I would also ask you, not to try to find somebody of a different color than you that agrees with you, but to find actual people that you do life with and actually ask them to share their life stories with you, and you don't get to like push back on their life stories. You just get to listen. And those are the moments that I think will shape you and challenge you and change you. Um, and I think in these moments, um, I see so many of our black staff and our black church members post, and they post things that it's fear, it's stories, and and some of you, some of you that you think, well, it's this or it's that, or make excuses for why they shouldn't feel that way. You just don't know. Like white folks, like we don't know what it's like to be black in America. And somebody like lit me up over that one time, and like I don't know how you could light me up for that. Let's like you don't know you're not black. That's like and here's what's funny about racism sometimes. You only have these set of rules when it comes to race. Like if I was sitting here and say, man, I have no idea what it's like to be a woman, everybody would say, of course you don't, because you're a dude. But if I say I don't know what it's like to be black, they're like, oh, rah, rah, rah. It don't make it look sense. But I see our staff, and I see our church members that, man, I love deeply. And man, these are the people that are on the stage. These are the people that are shaking their hand. These are the people that, man, there's just some of the most incredible people. Some of my best friends, and I see them hurting. And as a pastor, I just want to do everything I can. Like pastor is to shepherd, it's to lead, it's to protect. And I feel like I can't do anything, but maybe God has given me a platform. Maybe God has given me a voice, and maybe I can use that to help bring awareness to something that it seems like a lot of white Christians want to ignore. And so you say, well, is that the only injustice? No, nobody ever said it's the only injustice. So God's really moved in my heart in this area. Um, if you don't like that, I don't care. Um, I really don't. I love you and I respect your opinion, but if you don't like the fact that I believe that America has a bad problem with racism and it bothers me deeply, like I don't care. Like I don't. Uh, but I'll give you that. I should talk more about things like foster care, adoption, and abortion, and human trafficking. And again, we support all those organizations, and um, I should talk more about that. But that doesn't take away from the fact that I shouldn't talk about this. And in fact, I should talk about racism more if I'm being frank with you. All right. Let me answer some of your questions on here. Then, Christy, am I coming across real busy right now? Or?
No, it's good.
Okay.
Needs to be said.
All right. So we'll just get some of these going to be easy questions. Some of these going to be good. All right. And feel free, like type your questions. I'm happy to answer. Um, what are Kat said this? What are some VFC fears currently and coming out of this? Um, I'll tell you. I'll tell you my fear as a pastor. I don't think our church. I don't have a lot of fears as the church is concerned right now. I mean, I guess I do, but I'll tell you my great fear. I feel like what is happening in America right now is, and I didn't think this was going to happen, but I think it's happening. I think this is the church in America, the body of believers. I think there is becoming a great divide. I think the church is waking up. I think the church will experience revival coming out of this. I think that the church will be stronger on the other side of this. But I also think the people that were on the fringes and were the casual Christians, the culture Christians, I think they're dropping off. That's what I think. I think this is the ultimate separator. I think people have been going to church for a long time because they thought it was just what they should do, but now they haven't been in a couple months, and if they don't engage with the Holy Spirit, if they don't let the Lord move on their heart, then I think they're going to keep going this opposite direction. But then I'm super hopeful that that the church in America is waking up. And when I say waking up, here's what I mean by that: to love people. You know what Jesus said, how you're known by my disciples? He didn't say by how much scripture you can quote. He didn't say by how loud you can preach. He said, you will know that they're my disciples by how they love people. And so I think we'll see this great awakening of churches that are they're just gonna love people, that are gonna engage people. I think we'll see more people get saved in fall of 2020 and January or the spring of 2021 than we've ever seen before. So I think there's gonna be a great awakening, but also I think we have to be really careful, because I do think there are people that they've gotten comfortable being away from the church, and not that your relationship with Jesus is about the church, but I think a lot of people, that was their only connection to Jesus, which I've been preaching against for years. But I think so that's kind of my fear for that group of people that kind of on the fringes, that I'm trying to challenge every week to come back in and to really connect and engage with God, that they're going to kind of drop off. So will you maintain any new processes that you develop in the quarantine that will translate back over to in-person church? Yeah, I don't think I know what those are yet, but I think that's a conversation that we're having with our staff, really, really regularly, like almost every other day right now. And so yeah, that's certainly happening. I think the way that we do meetings will be different. I do think there will be things we do like get to know. I've been doing get to know. Like I just hop on for like a few minutes. Our staff's been doing get to know. Actually, Kat, your sister's been doing get to know, and Josh. And so I'll jump on. So I think those have been really cool to figure out how we don't have to have people come to the building to do that. We can do Zoom get to knows, and then I can even connect with more people. And so I think some of our ability to connect with each other is going to get way easier because we're getting more comfortable with things like Zoom. I think short term there's a tons of changes just from a health safety perspective, but I think in a year, I think just to be brutally honest with you, I think right now people are figuring out online. If you didn't already know this, and most of you probably already knew this, that there's incredible preaching, incredible worship everywhere. Maybe not everywhere, but now that you can have Facebook, you see the greatest communicators and the greatest worship teams all over the planet. And so I think that I think you'll see people that will just start streaming different stuff from different places. I think people are going to stop going to Walmart as much and start ordering. I've heard people say, I never ordered food a day in my life, and now I'll never go back to the store. And so I think because of that, people are going to be starving for actual, real, authentic relationships. And so I think the things that we've done as far as family as a church, I think we'll kind of ramp those up times 10. So yeah, a lot of changes. I just don't know most of them yet. Ryan says, how will the role of VFC in the church as a whole change moving forward? What's the biggest lesson we've learned from this current season? So I think the role and how we'll change, and I don't want to act like, oh, now we're this global brand. But we've had people in 60, 70 countries watch, and almost every state watches. And again, I'm not saying like, ooh, there's going to be this global brand. I think what we're figuring out though is we can really help minister to people all over the planet. And so I do think our online presence will be greater on the other side of this than it's ever been. I think we're going to try to figure out more unique ways on how do we help people, whether it's through YouTube or Instagram or Facebook or whatever, even our stream. So biggest lesson I've learned from this is literally God cannot be stopped. There's nothing in the world that can stop the power and the presence of our God. Nothing. That You try to tell everybody stay home. You can't come to church. Like what? Like if you were the devil and you say, what if I could get people to stay at home for a couple months, right? We shut down church for a couple months, and then all of a sudden God says, "There's nothing that can stop me. I'm going to see more people come to know Jesus." Like, so I think like I preach it and I know it, but just to see it so real, um, that it's God's church, God's in control, and God's going to see great things happen. I think that's been huge. Gene says, if not in the building, why not put the worship team on the roof and we can sit in the grass? Okay, Gene, that's a great question. So early on, if you kind of go back to the numbers that we were talking about, to be able, if we're going to talk about just in Norman, to put even 3,000 or 4,000 people on the grass, it's just with the way that we do church, it's just not possible. Wouldn't be possible at Chickasha or at Newcastle either, and that is very important for us that we do church the same at all of our locations. However, coming up towards the end of the month, that is one idea that we're looking at, is to be able to still do online services on Sunday the exact same way that we have been doing it, but also offer something like a full worship experience, worship, preaching, everything at the church, outside as well. So certainly something that we're working on. Love the idea, and sometimes just the logistics are a little bit tricky. Jason says, have you seen a growth in community interest in our church through this time that may have otherwise been overlooked? Yeah, absolutely have. I think we've seen a tremendous amount of people engage that I don't think would have ever engaged in our church. I think that our church grows on the other side of this, because I think we've been able to see a lot of people come to Christ, and then when I do like the Facebook Live in the lobby after church, you just see these people jump on saying, "Hey, I live in the area. I've never been to your church. I want to start coming to church," or stuff like that. So, then Jason said, "Did our approach as a team help us reach more people through an unintended adventure?" Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And during the pandemic, Victory Family Church has reached more people in 6 weeks than it has in the last 6 months. So absolutely, God is doing really, really, really big things. Let's go to the questions. Mary says, "Can we set up a social distancing run this weekend?" Man, like I've been so locked into some other stuff. I've seen some of those posts, but I don't really have good information on that. But I would highly encourage you to set one up. Somebody says, "Does my 2-year-old have to wear a mask?" I'm not sure how to get him to keep it on. I don't know that I'm ever gonna make anybody wear a mask. I'm gonna highly suggest some stuff. I think the key to that will be when we do outdoor worship experiences. And I think the thing I like about doing outdoor worship experiences is people can spread out literally as far away as they want. And I do feel like it. And listen, like there are people that are really smart on both sides of this deal, and I think that's where like you got to be really careful thinking you're right and you're like everybody else is an idiot. I think that's what happens a lot of these times. It's like that's what happens with politics. It's I know I'm right, everybody else is stupid. It's not ever true. There's brilliant people on almost every side of this, and so I respect everybody. Like if whatever side you're on, like I honestly I respect you, and I just want to grow in God together, really. So if you think I'm gonna go up next to the stage and hopefully I can get 3 inches from the worship team, okay. And if you think I want to be on the other side of the parking lot where I can barely hear and nobody's within 100 yards of me, great. Like I don't care either way. So hopefully the outside will help that quite a bit. Jay says, "What do you think about members starting a Victory Sports podcast?" Let me tell you the problem with that. Every one of my sports friends, I'm all out of favors with them. So I've used every one of them. But, man, we've kind of kicked some stuff like that around in the past. It's possible. Shane says, "VFC, have any plans for Mother's Day?" I'm glad you asked. Yeah, it's going to be awesome. So every mom, we want you to come to church. Just drive to the church, not like come inside. We're going to have these little baby succulents that we're going to give to people, moms, and then you can take a picture. So all of our campuses, there'll be succulents, and then there'll be a place where you can take a picture. Now, here's what we did, and here's how we're trying to do this. So we will have one of our staff or volunteers that have gloves and a mask on. You will hand them your phone. We just thought, what's the safest way to do this where we can actually do family photos? So this beautiful setup, right? All the locations, a beautiful setup. So you're going to hand one of our staff your phone. They're going to take a picture, a family picture, or two or three, whatever, with your phone, and they're going to hand it back to you. They're going to take their gloves off. They're going to put a new pair of gloves on, take next person's phone. So it'll be very social distance, as safe as we can possibly do it. And so that's what we're doing for Mother's Day. We'll also have food trucks at all of our locations, and so if you guys want to come and hang out and eat in your car or eat at the picnic tables, they're spread like 20 feet apart, so feel free to come do that again. Chad Overton, shut up. I like Chad. He's a good dude. Okay, Rachel, thoughts on KC Church having to provide church attendees info to government? I have not heard that. I can. So I don't know what you're talking about, but I can promise you I ain't giving anybody any info. So, Doris, do we recognize National Day of Prayer? I'm just to be honest with you, we do. We posted something this morning about it to pray and posted how can we pray for you. But frankly, in all this, I didn't do as good of a job of leading the church through that. And so we did a post. We didn't do near as much as we should have. And that's my bad. Okay, so Christy says, what are your thoughts on new campuses in the coming years? Has this slowed our plans? I would probably say the opposite. I would probably say this. Here's what I actually believe. I believe that crisis is the great accelerator, right? So everything that was going to happen. So I think here's just practically plays on the secular world. I think malls were going to close in 10 years anyways. Now I think malls are going to close in 2 or 3. At least the way that we normally see, whether it's like a Sooner, Penn Square, Coral Springs, those who live in Oklahoma don't know about. So those, I think so. So I think the things that we were planning on doing, I actually believe for us as a church, I think that'll be. I think the plan's been accelerated actually. So I don't know how that looks. I do not have a location. I do not have nothing just happened yesterday where I'm like, oh, they got a building. That's true. But I just in my heart I believe that this will accelerate a lot of stuff. Hargis asks, when will VF Kids start back? At some capacity, the first week of June we'll have some. Listen, I may change. This may change in a week. I don't know. But as of right now, June 7th. I think I think we'll have child care, kids ministry in some capacity. Eddie, my man, I love Ed. How can we help the staff? That's a great question. If you have a staff cell phone number, you're friends with them on Facebook, just encourage them. I think more than anything, encourage them. I'm a little more disconnected. I'm an office guy, so I'm in the office 6 days a week. So I haven't been in the office near as much. Most of the staff's not in the office near as much, and so I feel a little disconnected from the staff. In some ways, we Zoom and do that stuff, but I would say encouragement is big. But because I'm a little bit disconnected, I don't know what they need, and so I know for a lot of these things coming up, they're going to need volunteers. But I think more than anything, our staff are probably working harder than they've ever worked in their lives. A lot of them trying to be stay-at-home parents right now too, because everybody's world just got rocked. And again, I'm not not playing victim card for any of them. They're all amazing and doing a great job. But everybody could use a little bit of encouragement, and certainly I think just saying, what can we do? Because we are looking at how can we get better out of this? How can we change? How can we grow? What are the lessons that we're learning? And so just to be able even to help process some of those ideas with them, and I'm saying for you guys to help process those ideas with them and help kind of refine them and make them better. So Denise said, "Will it be a long time before we bring Sunday lunch back?" We had Sunday lunch on Sunday, which is taco trucks. But I know what you mean. I think Sunday lunch will be back this summer. So whether that's June, July, or August, I'm not sure. But I do think we'll kind of slow roll that out. That some of that will just kind of follow whatever the state guidelines have been set out for us. John says, "Can we keep doing parking lot services? We really enjoyed it last Sunday." Yeah, so every Sunday from now on, until we're back in the building, until we start having outdoor actual worship experiences, we will have food trucks in the parking lot, and we will have you guys can come up whenever you want. So okay, so this is kind of a longer one, so I'm gonna read it out loud for the first time. Research says that church is a protective factor. However, post a natural disaster, people who experience a favorable outcome in the end are more connected to their faith and community. The converse is those who experience poor outcomes begin to lose or question their faith. How do you encourage the latter during and after disaster? So how do we encourage the latter? So for us right now, here's how we're encouraging it: by being online multiple times a day, every day, by trying to give people resources to be able to grow in God and stay connected. And then that's why we're honestly pushing our Zoom small groups as much as we possibly can right now, because we believe that we're so much better together than we are by ourselves, and that when people are on either side of this, if you're frustrated, if you're new in God, new your relationship with God, if you're whatever the case may be, lost your job, or things are going well. At the end of the day, we just strongly believe if we can get you connected with other believers, we'll sharpen each other, we'll grow. And so even stuff like the food trucks and things we're doing, we're just trying to connect people to each other, because like I said, God is going to move the message. People are going to get saved. People are going to worship. They can do that from their home, but it's impossible to connect with people relationally from your house. And so we want to try to, unless you're in Zoom or other those things. And so we're trying to create as many of those opportunities as we can. And then we're trying to do things like this and be in your home to be able to sometimes have fun, sometimes worship, sometimes teach. Lily said, "What do you wish people could see that goes on behind the scenes so they can better understand your heart as a staff with all the decisions during the pandemic?" That's a good question. Lily's, her family's been in ministry probably since before she was born, and so she understands a lot of this. Man, I wish they could see the agony that goes into every decision. I don't think anybody will appreciate the literal agony that goes into trying to figure this thing out. Not just from my end, but from all the staff. So it's, and then just the effort, the hustle, the creativity. Staff that one of our staff, TJ, I showed up at the office on Tuesday, and he was mulching all of the flower beds, and he just said, "Man, I didn't have as busy of a day today, and so I wanted to help in this area too." And so staff totally shifted jobs. Some that were doing something and now they're doing something totally different, and so I wish people could kind of see how hard the staff has worked and how they all shifted, and frankly every staff person took a pay cut, and they're now this paycheck, they're now back to normal pay. Um, but when they took a pay cut, the only comments that I had were were not, this is gonna hurt, or this is gonna be tough, or this is gonna be difficult, or why are you doing this? It was, well, Adam, cut my pay even more, or you don't even need to pay me this week or the next 2 weeks. And so, just the willingness for them to say, we'll do whatever it takes to help people know Jesus and grow in Him, is one of the most inspiring things I've ever had the privilege of being a part of. Have camps for youth been canceled? Okay, that's a. I don't know what's been released yet. So, has it been released? Okay, so no. So I'm speaking at a couple of the camps, and so I've been talking to these guys the last few weeks. And so early on in those conversations, it was, Adam, you can't tell anybody this yet because haven't released it, but I think they have released it. And so you're sure they released it? Okay. Oh, so they already So they already told you more information. I think it's in July. I still don't know what days I'm preaching, but and they've shortened them a little bit. I think they're 3 nights instead of 4 nights. But man, those guys have done a tremendous job of making sure they're going to do it in a really safe way, and still help kids have an encounter with God. Let's see, Sherry says, where is financial help needed right now? Here's what I would almost always say to that question. You can find somebody to give to, but I always encourage people just to give to the general budget. You'll see something, I can't tell you this, but Sunday you're going to see something incredibly generous that we were able to do. Now, we didn't take up a special offering for that, or we didn't say, hey, give to this certain project. Just because people are continually generous to the church, we're able to do the things that we're about to do on Sunday. And so I would say just give the general fund, and I promise you it's helping a lot of people. Now, there are some people that they just like giving to projects. And so if that's you, then just email info@vfc.church and say, I would love to invest in a certain project, and we can give you a list of projects that are upcoming. Most of them, we put the pause button on. We just resurfaced half the parking lot. We're going to resurface the rest of it. That was one of those jobs that we were like halfway into it when the corona hit, and so it's kind of weird. But I think we'd already paid for half of it. Yeah, I know we'd already paid for half of it too. So able to finish that last week, and then this coming week. So it's been good. Chris, who? Dude, when'd you get the tattoo? First saw it at Easter. Can you see it right now, Robin? Can you see it on the TV? No. Okay, I got a tattoo. I got it last year. That's it. I got it. I like it. I'm not a show it off guy. I'm not a hide it guy. It is what it is. I got some really funny stories, but I'm not going to say them right now. So, some people are not happy about it, but I waited until I was 37 to get a tattoo. So, Alicia says, be honest, new perspective on stay-at-home moms and homeschooling. Okay, so this, you're not gonna like my answer, Alicia, but I really got to brag on our school and my kids' 2 teachers. Christy and I are about as involved now, slightly more involved now than we were 2 months ago. Would you agree with that, Christy, or you think you're a lot more involved?
Yeah, well.
I mean, just like, Christy's more involved than she was for sure, but
I'm doing fraction math, so yes.
But our kids' teachers have just done a tremendous. They Zoom every day with their class and with their teachers, and they've just done an unbelievable job. So Frankly, I love this setup because my kids are usually done with school by around lunchtime, and then we get to hang out a little bit more, and it's been great. Genesis, what can we pray for you, Pastor? That's so nice. What do you need? Um, the Bible says if anybody lacks wisdom, let him ask. And right now, I'm seeking godly counsel, but I just need wisdom. Half the stuff that I said tonight, I'm gonna lay in bed in a little bit and say, "Oh, probably should have said that differently." And so, uh, but I'll move on. But I just continue wisdom. Again, nobody knows what we're doing. And again, there's for a lot in a lot of people's minds, you go one way, you lose. You go the other way, you lose. And so we're just gonna do the best we can. And so just pray that God gives me supernatural wisdom that we can do what's best. I do think it's important to know I don't want to start church and not be able to do it with excellence. Like I don't want to do we? Here's a question: do I start church 50% capacity with 200 babies in the auditorium or toddlers? Like I don't know. Um, so so that's why I like the outside idea because again, you kind of spread out and is it should we do church at all if we can't do kids ministry? Can we? Everybody has a different opinion on everything, and so again, we just want to do what's right, what's best. Is it safe? I'm not like I'm. The last thing I'm worried about is the sanitation and cleanliness of our church. That team has been working. It's going to be perfect, and it'll be continually like around the clock cleaned on Sunday. It may be perfect before you guys get there, but then they're teams that they'll just. It's going to be amazing how well they clean it. So just pray they have wisdom. Am I supposed to show people? Like, what am I? How many people are watching right now?
226.
Oh, gosh.
I'll take your shirt off. That'd be weird.
I'm not going to take my shirt off. All right, here it is. Can you see it fine? What are y'all thinking? There's a bunch of trees and a sunburst.
Stand up a little bit. There you go.
All right, good. It's embarrassing. It's weird. But whatever. So, yeah, I got a tattoo. Clip your hair and send me those scriptures too, will you?
Oh, gosh.
Guys, I'm just telling you, I'm drained. I'm irritable. I'm usually pretty chill, but I get passionate, but I'm pretty like chill with this kind of stuff. Tiffany said, "What's my Sonic drink?" It's just tea. I'm not for Sonic. That's so boring. It's just tea. Brianna said, "With outdoor services, is there a way for all of us to be able to hear the service collectively?" Yeah, for sure. Sound system would be fantastic. So I'm not worried about that at all. What we're trying to do is figure out that's a norm. We're trying to figure out what to do in Newcastle and Chicken Shake because we all want to move forward together. And so, they might be able to add experiences and then do it inside the building earlier than us. So. See here.
Stevie's friends watching.
Boo Bear? Bo Bear. It was Bo Bear. Bo Bear. Talked to him, texted him a little bit today. So there's a pastor friend of mine in Pennsylvania that's watching right now. He was, I think, the second or third guest speaker we ever had. I try to get him to come back sometimes, and he always ghosts me. He's like, "Yeah, I'll come back. I'll let you know," and then he never tells me when he's here. Awesome pastor. They got 5 campuses. Incredible church in Pennsylvania. See, Lori says, "You live in Mississippi? God used VFC to reach my husband who was fighting it so bad. We have turned it all worship nights, game nights, devotion. You guys are doing an amazing job." That's really cool. Really appreciate you saying that. Really, really, really awesome. And then Tim, U.S. Attorney here. Whew, that's great. Thankful things are going well. If any issues with government, let us know. I got no issues with government. So, since I'm feeling froggy, the people I've really offended are already off here. I just want to make sure if you're on the if you live in Norman, like our mayor is super liberal, and our president of the United States is super conservative. I just want you to pray for both of them the same. And so if you're in the camp that says pray for one, pray for the one that God moves on their heart, and the other one praying that God moves them out of the office. Let's not be hypocritical, and let's pray for everybody with the same heart and the same intent, that all of our leaders encounter the Lord, love the Lord, serve the Lord, and lead in a godly way. Okay, so kind of where we go from here, from a time frame perspective. The next 2 weeks we will do church like we have been doing church, with food trucks outside, and you can watch from your device. The 25th, the 24th, 25th, 24th, 25th, 24th, Memorial Weekend. That would be the first time that we might do something outside, or the 31st. I don't know yet, but I can tell you the 10th and the 17th we will be doing church as we have the last 6 weeks. Becky says, if we can hear about your prostate, we can see the tattoo.
Oh my gosh.
Becky, that is
I love her.
that's fair. That is. Sometimes I can't believe the stuff that comes out of my mouth, but yeah, there. What I showed you, so there you go. Any other questions?
Asking the details of the name of the tattoo.
Oh yeah, that's a tough question. So, so open your Bibles to Zephaniah chapter 4, and you'll see exactly why I got this tattoo. So I won't leave it at that. Zephaniah chapter 4, verse 3 to be specific. I'm going to get one other thing, like I'm going to get 4 birds in there to represent my family. But starling birds to be exact. Andrea says, I worry about those who struggle with an addiction, especially during this tough times. VFC have resource online support groups set up. Man, that's a question that somebody else. Do we have support set up? Yes. Do we have online groups set up? I don't know if we have specific addiction recovery groups set up, but somebody that's watching, that's on our staff, may be able to answer that better than me. Somebody's helping already, or no? So, Tara, maybe you could DM Andrea Hell and give her that information. So, this is one of those things where I'm not sure. I don't know a lot that goes on at our church sometimes, which is great. Any other questions? All right, love you guys. Thanks for jumping on. Sorry if I came across a little irritable tonight, because I kind of am. I just want to do what's right. I just want to help people know Jesus and grow in Jesus. That's it. And but at the same time, I want to stand up for what's right, and I want to fight for what's right. And so I get a little bit passionate at times doing so. And criticism, it doesn't bother me. Sometimes you just feel like, gosh, you're working your tail off, and you see 56 staff working their tail off, and then some comments, you're just like, oh, it's tough. It's tough. It's tough, and so I should never take anything personal. But I'm a person, so sometimes it's hard. So, love you guys. Thanks for letting me be vulnerable, honest, rude, whatever else I was tonight. So, tomorrow night I'm not gonna get any of this. We're just gonna pray. We're gonna worship. And we're gonna pray, and it's gonna be great. Love you guys.